Welcome to the Verdin Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. I hope everybody's having a good morning. It's a debut of our new time for our live streams, 9 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Used to be 12 to 1 o'clock. Going to have to fit into this morning range now with the semester coming up. Got a nice little update for you today. LSU transfer portal news. We got tight end room talk with the new tight end coming in on Friday, Donovan Green. What's that room going to look like? Who's going to be fitting into what roles? Also, all your early enrollees from that 2025 class, they're here. They're on campus. They're ready to grind. Who should you expect to start? Maybe even get some playing time? Who should you expect to really get over that hump, as we saw a good handful of athletes do in last year's early enrollee class? And then, of course, the obvious, Jayden Daniels killing the Bucs in the playoffs, balling, looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. So we'll go in and break down all those NFLSU updates. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up on the stream. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss another stream. And like I said, 9 a.m.s Monday, Wednesday, Friday from here on out. Let's jump into this portal news real quick. We don't have a huge update, but I have something that I want to address. So the Tamarcus Cooley situation, right? He's on a visit to Kentucky, and his older brother, running back from Georgia Tech, Trey Cooley, he's on the Kentucky visit as well. And I'm not going to go ahead and say it's a sure thing. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you I'm leaning towards this probably being a package deal. I'm leaning toward the Coolies are trying to, worry about the relationships over the NIL. And I respect it. In a world where everybody's complaining on people taking checks and people not going to a spot that's best for them, this could be, one of the outliers. This could be a spot where the Coolies actually can flourish in Lexington. And I mean, a lot of people aren't going to want to hear that, but my end all message for an LSU fan waiting to see who this safety could potentially be that'll be added to the transfer portal class, I think you might have to stay a little more patient. Not saying Cooley's 100% out the race yet, but my gut's making me feel like he's leaning toward a potential, union with his brother. And I feel like here's a kind of a thing to put you at ease. Maybe it'll do the contrary. Maybe you'll get more nervous by me bringing this up. But I really do think there could be more players doing a position swap at LSU. I do think, with what we've talked about with G Sports, with what we've hypothesized here with the depth chart and the moves, I do think that there's a path here for some cornerbacks that are on LSU's roster currently listed at that position to swap over and give some help in the safety room. Now, it's going to take some time. That's the moral and the theme of this whole conversation. Time. Nothing is instantaneous. I mean, you're going to have to be patient through this offseason, the spring, even fall camp to see what you really got. They're punching hard in the offensive line room. They're trying to make sure that that's rebuilt. They're trying to make sure that, Garrett Nussmeier is able to have the blocking and all of the pieces around him and the weapons to be able to succeed at this level. Now, I'm glad I brought that up, the weapons, the pieces, the blocking, because with the new tight end addition, you got Donovan Green, who's the gentleman on the right from Texas A&M. He's joining the squad. And then on the left is Bar Sharp from Oklahoma. In the middle, obviously, Trudez Green. And then, you got J.D. LaFleur. You got another piece here that could potentially get thrown into the mix. But with this tight end room, with the forecast of what this is looking like, I mean, obviously, the biggest question is who's going to play your main block and roll? Who's going to be the guy that doesn't go get the catches, that actually puts a hand in the dirt and tries to be able to be that sixth blocker? As of right now, seems like everybody is a receiving tight end. Seems like everybody's main archetype is that of catching the ball. If you look at Trudez Green, obviously, he's going to be the predominantly, receiving tight end, if he's even at the tight end spot for most of his snaps. You saw them move him around in different pieces and different spots in that wide receiver, slot role. Bear Sharp also more of a receiving tight end as well. During his time in Oklahoma last season, he led the Sooners in receptions. He led the Sooners in reception yards. And I'm not saying that he's better suited at that, nor that he won't be able to do a hybrid role. But it just seems to me at this point in time, my all too early reaction, that it'll be Donovan who's going to probably bend to that hybrid role. But you can also put LaFleur in the mix, right? I just think Bear Sharp might be they're both 240 plus pounds. They're both in a spot where they could do it. They both could do it. It's just going to be about who would you rather, kind of lose out of that pass catching role? Who would you rather not have as many targets? And I feel like the signs are probably pointing to Donovan. But then again, if he's committing to LSU, he's probably got a big enough role where he feels comfortable coming over here, developing, and then potentially taking over that torch from Mason Taylor. That's what this, forecast is. Who's going to be able to replace that role that you saw Mason Taylor play so well? I mean, he would be able to do anything. He'd be able to do the blocking. He'd be able to do some of the communications. He'd be able to do, damn near catch every ball thrown his way. He was a surefire guy. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very hard. But let's talk about more of these early enrollees. Let's talk about more of these kids that you could expect to hit the ground running here at LSU, because I feel like the best spot to put yourself in a role or in a position to be able to just, grab the opportunity, seize the moment, get on the field early, which is rare in college at this point, especially with all the people hanging around with the experience. And then, bring up the fact that you're in the SEC and there's a whole new level of trust that has to be kind of understood out here. 13 enrollees this season, 13 last year as well. So you're looking at about a similar class, and hopefully you're looking at similar results, because I'm going to remind you some of the big impacts that you saw from that group last year. Gabe Relaford was a part of that early enrollee class. Ahmad Bro, Devon Keys, PJ Woodland, Deshaun Spears. Those were the pieces that you saw out there on the field. Those were the pieces that were inevitably up to speed enough to kind of ignore their classification and trust them in the fold. And I think there's a handful of names that you could, get used to. Here, let's go left to right. Obviously, Harlem Berry. I think he's going to be a big implemented factor. I mean, you got Caden Durham. I think Cale Jackson could potentially, turn over a new leaf from what he had happen last year and hit that mark. Now Harlem Berry also is going to have an opportunity. JT Lindsey is going to have an opportunity. There's a lot of names in that running back room, but I think one of the names you're going to learn the most, similarly to how Caden Durham took over this year, will be Harlem Berry next year. Then in the middle, I think this goes without saying, DJ Pickett. DJ Pickett will be a huge boost. Dude's already getting reps in practice, repping the gear out there, getting tutelage. We got a couple of clips during the bowl week practice of it. I think he could have the biggest impact of this entire class, not just early enrollees. And then lastly, another name that I'll throw in there for one of the biggest instant impacts, potentially, Carius Kern. Now this, obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that could potentially happen for that. An injury, some people moving around positions, whether it be DJ Chester or just, other pieces on that line that are going to fluctuate. He might be one of those, flex pieces that you could see put in. There's a good chance you see Carius Kern. And then at the end of the day, you never know who blows up in camp. It's coming up, rapidly approaching. We probably are 2 months out from spring ball, and we're going to have the highlights. We're going to have all the content. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be diving right into it. You only got about 60 days left until that football season kind of starts up again. I know I sound crazy, but look, once that national championship gets raised on the 20th, which is next Monday, the timer starts. Timer starts ticking. Tick, 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 tick. I want to jump to the national championship, the hypothetical, but I just can't. I can't jump around the schedule. We got to go straight to Jayden Daniels, straight to that big NFL LSU performance. And I don't know if y'all were watching last night. I don't know if you had early bedtime. I don't know if you were croaking. I don't know what was going on here. But Bucs, Commanders, one of the most entertaining games of this entire weekend. Let's talk about Jayden Daniels, his performance, and how he was able to just absolutely ball. I mean, clutch drive, last drive to win the game. The field goal scared the hell out of me. I thought he double doinked that thing. I don't know how it made it in. Congratulations. And the fact that Jayden Daniels is doing this in the postseason, in his rookie season, I mean, this is insane. It's always exciting to see stuff like this. NFL LSU, just overall success for people that really deserve it the most. I mean, dude got cut mid-game. Absolute dog. Got hit pretty hard a couple of times. I mean, I know some LSU fans were having flashbacks watching that. But at the end of the day, put his body on the line. I think Commanders will be dogs and contenders for years to come. The Lions game is definitely going to be tough. It's going to be a rough matchup. You're going on the road. It'll be indoors, though. You don't have to deal with the elements. You don't have to brave those. And honestly, at this point, I'm not ruling out Jayden Daniels. Simply put, I know I sound insane. I think the Lions are probably your favorite out of the NFC. But, I mean, I just don't think that you can put some disrespect on 5. I think he's pretty much cleared his name, and he's had one of the best rookie runs that I've seen out of any quarterback in a while. I mean, CJ Stroud, you could probably pop in there. Last year, what he was able to do was insane. Jayden Daniels has the potential to grab that Rookie of the Year award. I don't really know who else is contending for it at this point. I don't know who's doing similar things. I think this is kind of a unanimous decision. Shout out J5. Let's give another shout out, though. Well, real quick, 300 plus total yards for Jayden Daniels, 2 touchdowns, 68% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, kept it clean, only 1 sack, and his rushing yards, 13 carries, 36 yards. Didn't get the most, but in those 36 yards, he was stretching the plays out, go and get the first down, getting the ugly yards, putting his hat down, and getting to work. So shout out JD5. Let's give another shout out to one of our NFL LSU boys, Derek Stingley. Absolutely went off in the Chargers game. Didn't care if they were an underdog. Didn't care of all the disrespect going into the game. At home, took care of business. 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, 5 pass breakups, and 4 tackles. Here, I'm going to say it. I'm getting on my soapbox. This is the best corner in the NFL. You can feel how you feel, and you're more than welcome to comment, and we can have a conversation about it. But with what I've seen through the last few weeks, not even just one recent game, Derek Stingley is an all-around baller. Derek Stingley is somebody that I think will continue this level of play, if not ramp it up and get better and better and better. You saw this kid get thrown into the fire to the wolves at 18 years old, and he put a damn ring on his finger with what is probably the best college football team of all time, and he was a huge part of it. Derek Stingley, I think, one of the more talented players that we've seen out of LSU in recent memory. I'm not going to lie. I mean, 2 picks, forced fumble, and 5 pass breakups. And you're not doing this against just a slum team. You're doing this against Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. I mean, in that same stadium 365 days prior, Jim Harbaugh was holding up a damn national championship trophy. So I was very, very impressed with what the Texans were able to do in a sense where they smushed the Chargers. I had a good feeling that the Texans would be able to take care of business at home, and that everyone's getting worried about the injuries and the piling up and all of these things here. But you got a lot of X factors on that squad, and Derek Stingley is definitely one of them. Let's look at the comments here. We got H-Town Creole. What's going on, man? I hope you're having a good morning. Talking about the Tigers having problems getting a safety in the portal. DJ Position played that position in high school. Yeah, and then you also got other names that you could throw up into that mix, right? You got somebody like a Menzor Delane. You got somebody like Ashton Stamps. Never really even know who else is potentially on that docket of moving and transitioning and going towards that back end to help the team get better. I think, like I said, you still got time. And yeah, the portal window is closed in a sense where no new people can get added to it. But if someone was in that portal, someone jumped in when it was open a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever that window wasn't shut, they could still commit. As long as you join during that frame, you can commit. So LSU has a little bit of time left, and then another window will open here in the spring around the April mark. It's going to be interesting to know, because I'm not saying you're running out of time, but the next few visits you get, I'd say the next 3-ish, maybe 4. That's probably your last couple chances, your last couple of shots. And I think as the shots go, let's say TaMarcus really does go to Kentucky, as these cards kind of fall, you get progressively more and more aggressive because you're progressively more and more desperate, and you need this spot. Then you're talking about Detroit having a lot of injuries in defensive backfield, be a high-scoring game. Commanders can win. I definitely feel like you can't rule him out at this point. I mean, look, I personally think I predicted the Lions and the Ravens in the Super Bowl, and I'm putting my emotions, I'm putting it all to the side, because with what you saw last night, it's an explosive concoction that, quite frankly, on both ends can hold their own, and it'll be interesting. I think, a lot of people are potentially pointing toward Rams and Lions matchup potentially. Stafford, Goff, everybody wants to see some things like that happen. You never know, though, with how these matchups fall out. Let's talk about this national championship real quick before I head out of here and check out. Buckeyes are balling, unfortunately. Thought Texas would handle it. That was the pick. And they got slaughtered. They got absolutely slaughtered. The last time that the Buckeyes were in the national championship was 2020. The last time they won was 2014. As of right now, no more SEC in the college football playoff. If the Buckeyes win the chip, listen here, listen close. If the Buckeyes win the national championship, this will be the first time since 1994 and 1995 that the Big Ten went back to back. Jordan 96, 97, baby. Back to back. Big Ten on the brink of making history. First time in 30 years that this conference went back to back. It's been controlled by a particular conference that everybody can probably guess. It's interesting, though. Passing of the guard. I mean, this is a new age of college football. This is a new era. I'm not necessarily surprised to see Ohio State at the top, I guess. They're able to utilize the portal, the recruiting world, and just keep these pieces churning. The machine is not really slowing down, at least not right now. Their defense looks absolutely insane. Jack Sawyer seals the game with the fumble 6. If you ask me, when did the game end? It's that touchdown in like 5 seconds right before the half. I mean, you're kicking them the ball back. You just got in and tied the game. And then all of a sudden, boom, you let them bust one for damn near 1,002 yards on your head. And now the entire momentum flips. Now that game, I think, was lost. If you didn't defer, if you didn't have to come out of that half, which was like 15 seconds later after that play, then you're in a different spot. If you receive and after that and you get a chance to answer and tie, it's a different vibe. The fact that you're giving them the ball back and potentially giving them a chance to go up 2 possessions, that momentum was dead. Another question that I have for this potentially, you hear people like Kirk Herbstreit talking about it, other fans as well, but everyone wanted Arch Manning. I mean, at times you saw him get in, but everybody wanted him at times like the goal line stand. I mean, the last damn drive where Sawyer was able to 100% take the head off of the snake, if you will. I feel like there were some opportunities to be more creative, but hindsight's 2020. I mean, it don't matter what you feel or what you think could have happened. The pass is the pass, and Texas got smooshed. It's going to be an interesting national championship. I'm going to probably wait to pick that on Friday. I think, a lot of people are going to have a lot of things to say about this college football playoffs. A lot of people are going to be confused about the auto bids. A lot of people are going to be confused about some of these teams like Oregon and Texas, who were potentially the top teams in the country, and they got fizzled out. I mean, you're going to have a lot of gripes, a lot of complaints. In the end, I think the product of college football is getting better and better and better. Yeah, you got some things to iron out. Yeah, you got some questions to answer. But in the end, I think you're in a good spot. And if you're LSU, I think you're even in a better spot because your brand, your resources, the direction that your program is heading in, even if an LSU fan don't want to hear this, is positive. It's an upward direction. Are you in a playoff this season? No. And everybody's going to get recency bias looking at Notre Dame in a national championship, which, if they win, good for them. Good for Coach Freeman, who potentially could get pulled into that NFL door. A quick side note on that, I feel like that's really interesting. We were talking about who the Saints are going to hire, and I've just popped the question up like a week or two ago. Will we see any more college coaches get flipped? And I mean, at the time, it sounds insane. At the time, it sounds far-fetched. It sounds like, who wants to really take that jump at this point? I feel like there's some people. You always be surprised. Money talks, and then the opportunity is good enough, better enough, for lack of a better word, then, I really guess it depends on the situation. It depends on if you're a head coach at a huge college. Then that might not be bigger, might be equal to an NFL head coaching job, but anything under, better. But I don't think an NFL job has many downsides other than the fact that, you might be dealing with more accomplished players. There's 2 sides to that. Everyone's like, you got to deal with this, you got to deal with that. Okay, yeah, but those players are also better. Now you got more resources. Now you got more things, more dependability, more experience. There's a lot of layers to this. You can look at it glass half full, glass half empty. I'd be surprised if Marcus Freeman wins. If he wins a ring, holds a trophy up, and has the perfect opportunity, maybe he sniffs it out. But if he loses, if Ohio State wins, I think he comes back. I think he's locked in. I think Notre Dame is this close. And I think LSU is this close as well, too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think LSU is in a spot where they could shock a lot of people this year. It's going to take a lot of work. And one of those things that you're going to have to do is add a safety in this portal class. I mean, yeah, you got some depth. Yeah, you got some trust. And I feel like the outlook of that room is more positive than negative overall. It was no secret, though, where one of your weakest spots were on this team. And it's also no secret what you're going to have to do to address it. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, you got time. Don't rush. Don't panic. Don't make the wrong decision. Hear everybody out. But as far as DeMarcus Cooley, I'm just not sure that's going to be the guy they bring in. Doesn't feel like it right now. Could be wrong. Would love to be wrong. But seems like he's going to probably lean toward that destination in Kentucky with his brother. I'm going to go ahead and head out here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please hit the like button on your way out. Make sure to hit subscribe. We are going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. sharp. Be there. It's a new time. We're sticking with it all spring. Y'all have a great day.